On into game 2 draft straight away. Start dancing, start looking towards how Barca get back into this series because game 1 was a stomp. Again, we mentioned there were a lot of pauses, so we apologize. Hopefully this one is a cleaner one for you as Barca are on blue side. And Los Ratones on the red. Fury Syndra and this song that is in my head, rent-free. Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing Sion not banned here. White Knight could very easily take that one away.
Yeah,
but you do have things like Kai'Sa and Varus that can be really good into big tanks.
Yeah, some other power picks I'm thinking about are Trundle and Wukong. Especially if they pick Sion, then you can go Trundle on the other side, and that could be problematic. Wukong, though, specifically for LR, they love this champion. They think this champion is super OP. Yeah, there goes the Sion.
Jokes.
There goes the Sion.
Okay, so Sion ban. He said Wukong could be an option here, 2 and 3. Oh, sorry.
With Lost Returner specifically. But in terms of power picks that are up, I agree with Trouble. I think Varus is something you have to trade. Consider the fact that you have Jhin as an answer as well.
Yep.
I'm also looking at Azir here. Because
Yeah,
both Chocolate and Nemesis play Azir, and they're more than willing to B1 it. So I feel like Azir could really fit more of like a slow-paced game, if you will, for the side of Barca. Try to maybe scale into the late game. And with it being open right here, could potentially be a pick.
Rumble banned away because they have no Galio into it. There's the Azir. The reason why I'm a bit cautious on this is because you're probably going to answer it with something like Hui. That's usually a Nemesis is one of his go-to answers at the very least. He'll go pick the Hui out and you just outrange and win the lane. Then you're looking at pairings like, I still think the Wukong is probably one of your better answers. Or trades, rather.
You go Hui Wukong?
Hui Wukong, I think it's playable for sure, yeah. I think it's completely fine. Just don't think there's that many other options. Velia's Viego's open. But I think you probably drop that for future games.
Pause. I saw the Aurelia. I mean, Barca's playing so much of it in solo queue. It's like AP Aurelia, AD Aurelia,
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm glad we're not seeing that. As you said, Wukong, best jungle option, potentially. I mean, unless you take something away like a Sejuani
I feel like
from Azir.
Wukong is great here because usually they go for their engage through their jungle for the side of LR, especially if you want to slam something like a Braum for Reckless down that bot lane, which is very heavily towards their style and their kind of picks.
Viego.
But
Viego.
I'm not a big fan of Viego in general. I don't necessarily like that champion or the early game pressure that he does create. And with Azir, you could potentially go towards something like more of an AD-oriented kind of jungler. We've seen the Lee Sin coming through Thagir as well, which you can make early game plays through.
Yeah, you can make Lee Sin plays through that. The Kha'Zix was brought out by Velia. That probably won't be brought out by Thagir.
No rel.
Lucian Nami lane?
That's right.
All right.
So in the past, you would go stuff like Nico into it. Nami would be picked into Nico, but they're just going for it right now. Into Lucian Nami, typically you pick things like Nautilus to be able to hook in and then trade and threaten the all-in as well, because the trades are just so oppressive. And it would be good with the nature of Viego, who likes to play off of that instant burst.
I kind of really like Renata into this. I really like Renata into anything like Lucian Nami oriented, because usually Lucian likes to dash forward, and Renata likes anything that likes to dash forward against her due to the nature of her ult. Jhin was the highest KDA champion for Crowny over in the NLC. He had an insane record, 30-something KDA throughout the entirety of NLC over winter and spring. So by far one of his best champions the entire year.
Yeah, I'm already looking at Los Ratones' draft as well, and I'm looking at a lot of range with Jhin and Hui. I think they need a bit of engage and CC to set up their spells. Something like Nautilus, Alistair, Aurel, these champions are exactly what I'm looking at. Yeah, Leon is also good, but I prefer Nautilus the most out of any of these, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some bans to set this champ up or be banned away.
Okay, well, Ornn at least taking an option from top. I mean, is that fishing for anything? Is that showing anything? Or is it just the fact that White Knight, probably needs to be on something engaged, something like a frontline?
Yeah, they need some frontline. They're banning away like a Azir, Ornn kind of front-to-back, insane scaling team fight.
I'm just kind of worried right here that your answers for engage through top lane, since Sion and Ornn have been taken out, are things like the Gnar, which is like a very conditional type of engage. White Knight really likes to gravitate towards the Gnar, and you could end up facing that into a Jax potentially, as you have the R5 from the side of Los Ratones. But I'm looking at the engage options that you're getting right here for the side of for the top side of the map for Barca, and I'm thinking Sejuani could potentially be one. Things like Maokai.
I think Maokai is the classic. I completely agree with you. That's what I was thinking too. Notice how all the engage supports are also pinched. Jarvan's gone for the immobile carries of Los Ratones, so your jungle pool is pinched and engage support's a little bit pinched. You go Alistair here if you want to, just to get consistent setup. If you're the side of LR, or you just take away the Leona too. Those are the two champions that you're looking
Can
at.
also go Rakan. I feel like with all the
Rakan, yeah,
setup
true.
that you've got and the long range from the side of LR, like a slippery engage, disengage support could do wonders, and Reckless really likes to gravitate towards that.
Is it hard enough engage, I guess, is the question,
It's
right?
not as hard engage as something like what I was suggesting with the Leona.
It's more than game one.
It's also not much face check, which is also a bit of a problem, I believe, between Velia and Reckless right here. These champions don't face check as well.
Yeah.
And also Rakan into Nami Lucian isn't the best.
Now you're going into most likely Volibear or Jax for the sort of bows. And Whiting has a big question mark on his side. What do you blind pick into things like the Volibear or the Jax?
Yeah, you can pick range champions into that, but that's not really bad.
Shen?
Shen is pretty good. Shen is pretty good into these champions.
You go Wukong, you can dive the backline with that.
If you want to go towards champions that Baus has a problem with, go towards the Shen. Nice.
Okay.
But the Wukong I really like too, because it's also a denial for the future for Velia when they really value this pick.
Is he going to do it?
He's smiling. He doesn't like the Shen.
It's really hard to counterplay. He hates this champion. He calls it a demon champion because it's so lane dominant in the current meta. It wins trades versus almost anything. The traditional counters to Shen are range champions and some specific lane bullies.
Yep.
That Baus does not play. So he's going to play for scaling and try to survive the Shen lane.
He has played Jax, AP Jax, into the Shen prior, and he beat that matchup later on when Jax
But
gets
at the
scale.
start, I think he got solo
at the start, he was so suffering.
And I think the biggest problem with the Shen matchup for Baus is that it creates so many numbers advantage players on the other side of the map, which creates problems for players like Nemesis Crowner you want to play through, right? So I think Baus here versus this lane bully, it's going to be a big challenge. Honestly, the Shen pick alone makes me doubt their chances.
Does it?
Yeah. I think Shen is LR's kryptonite, in a way.
Okay.
Because it's Bowser's character and then it's snowball effects.
It's a huge snowball effect.
I really like what Barca have right here. I really like their front to back. I love the Shen to be able to intercept on side lane plays and skirmishes. I love the Lucian Nami because it can be extremely lane dominant. And I feel like Whiting and Legolas have really been playing for those aggro lanes. Now with the help of Fager, get that Wukong to that level 6, play for the ball side of the map. Chain that in with the Shen ultimate as well, and you can have a very, very strong death ball going towards the side of LR.
Yeah, I think mid 2v2 is what I'm looking for in terms of LR as well in the early game. I think the top and bot lanes, since you picked Rakan for scaling as well in the team fights, you've got just giga scaling lanes and you're going to struggle. And the mid 2v2 is where LR are going to shine compared to the side of Barca.
Well, I mean, for Barca, if it's at least giving you a little bit more confidence of the draft, if it's giving you a little bit more options, excitement's an important word as well. And hopefully we have a series on our hand. If you missed the first game, there were a lot of pauses, unfortunately, but we got past that into a massive wipe of a team fight. After team fight, after team fight. And the game ended within 27 minutes. Los Ratones, the defending champions, move on to Rift for game number 2. Already with one in their back pocket to see if they can keep the momentum going. Or if Barca have got something else to show us. Number 1 of the LVP versus number 1 of the NLC. Let's get this underway once again as Nemesis on Hwei. EMEA Masters, that has been a good sign. A lot of range coming out, and you know, we got some fun lanes to talk about. You want to start?
I think the biggest challenge for LR in the first 5 minutes are getting Baus through the early recall and then getting the Doran's Ring TP back, which is the classic. Surviving the early lane phase versus Shen is imperative, so that he doesn't have free reign the entire game to make plays as early as possible with his ulti off cooldown. That's the big challenge, and I'm worried because Baus does not have a good track record of doing that, and it's a hard matchup.
I also really like from the side of Barca how they've gone for the Electrocute Lucian right here. They're looking to take very aggressive trades into potentially even an invade into the Viego. Viego early game, not the strongest champion. You can't push him out of lane, especially if you bleed the Lucian and the Nami into the jungle with the Wukong, right? So this is what I'm looking forward to mostly. I feel like it was Velia and the early game level 1 invade that really broke the map for Barca in game number 1. So right here, more standard, full clear, top to bottom for both junglers.
Yeah, I think Wukong here is going to want a stable early game until he gets to level 6, and then he's going to have ulti and he's going to make a lot of plays. The ward early from Baus is interesting as well, because it shows him rather where Wukong's going to clear to, and that might mean he can even find some kind of proxy angle later on as he crashes waves, as Wukong's going to be clearing away, and he won't die.
It's really easy to proxy on that champion as well. Like, your wave clear early with that Sky Splitter, and the magic damage that when it hits feels so good as
A little noise escaped me there. I mean, the barrier. I think he panicked versus the fourth shot.
He didn't panic. So this is the thing, again, this is the thing that they're doing the LPL and the LCK. They will burn their barrier early so that they don't get out-traded. I feel like it's very important right here because Wukong is pathing towards the ball side, so is Velia on his Viego. So I feel like Whiting and Legolas making sure they have priority, they're pushing the wave down that bot lane and taking those aggressive trades is much more important than the barrier early.
I mean, Crownie now just taking a massive trade. Talking about that electrocute before, Lucian really looks great with that quick burst that Legolas shows us. As by the way, Twilight Assault just picked up, so Baus is going to have a hard time. Yeah, good trade otherwise though from Baus getting his Q down.
Your volatile side lanes. I'd look at right now how Volibear secures this crash and then looks for a wave afterwards, and then maybe a recall for the Doran's Ring and so on the other items.
Velia's going bot.
Could be a gank. I mean, there's no reliable gank setup. You've just missed the W on Jhin.
But Legolas just walked up, trying to get the wave crashed in. Reckless gets an engage, and Whiting is isolated away from Legolas. They'll turn. The stun, though, doesn't connect from Velia, but the last shot will indeed. Deadly Flash flashed away from. Thager is now here to help, but he's too late. First blood is over to Lost Return.
Damn, you take the nameplates off. I think that's Thager. He's usually the one ganking very early. But right here, due to the state of where the lane was, I feel like Reckless and Crownie have been taking really great trades, actually, into Legolas and Whiting, to the point where barrier down onto the Lucian, not a lot of mana, not a lot of HP. They brought in Viego after the first clear. Legolas will dash out, and then they turn their attention onto the Nami. 0 mana, hash pre-flashed already, 4th shot held from Crownie to make sure the kill goes through.
Yeah, nice little skip of the camps from Velia there to capitalize on the frozen wave state.
Aragon, you know me. I'm the Volibear guy.
Oh, yeah?
At least for me.
Drop me some info right now on that volley match.
With Spirit's Refuge, every time you use the Thundering Smash down, as Baus just gets absolutely whacked with the Q. Then you just don't have a Q for a long time. It's quite a long cooldown earlier on. You know, like other matchups where if you get Shadow Dash through and stunned where you have Q up, you actually get a refund on Q as Volibear. So you can actually use it again as it's used.
Yeah, the CC cancels.
But it's painful. The Shen matchup could be really, really crap, as it is just the best champion in top right now, as junglers are fighting it out in the meanwhile. And while I'm yapping away, Thager gets away from the Severing Bolt, but Nemesis is still here. CC flashed away from, but Velia has his flash from last fight, but where's the CC? It's now coming up. He'll find it. There's the Severing Bolt isolated again, and with Conqueror up, Velia just needs a bit more in the Q department, and he'll find that too. White Knight can't save the day, and Velia is off to the races.
Very confused. Chocolate wasn't a reset right there. It was TPing way after you're engaging onto an invade, onto the Raptors. As you know, Nemesis has pre-back, he's reset, he's TPing back into lane, and then your mid laner is due a reset as well. I feel like that was a big whoopsie right there from Thager.
Yeah, I think he was just looking for some deep vision on the respawn camp, just to track the jungle clear a little bit as the 3 camp came out. But still, really nice punish. Find the pick onto the Wukong. And the chain CC from the Hui as well as the Viego was pretty nice.
Right, just barring there again. Again, just staying trouble, blocking a lot of the trade damage that's come through. And Legolas and Whiting are trading very aggressively in this lane. As best they can do is Elara just looking for the wave to push in.
I'm actually, I was about to say, both of these junglers are going Trinity Force, right? Trinity Force is a very expensive item. And usually, after the nerfs on Blade of the Rinky, you don't really see Viego playing towards Blade of the Rinky. They mostly play like the Kanavi build, which is Trinity Force into the Collector. Right here with... Remind me the... Recurve Bow, thank you very much. It seems like he is going for the Blade of the Ring angle.
I usually do see Triforce Collector as well. That's usually the only build I ever see on Viego right now. I'm not up to date with the...
Thanks, I feel like
Kanavi. This champion I feel like can build so many different items that it's almost...
Kraken Slayer as well.
Yeah.
That's different, isn't it?
Level 6.
Ulti, Chocolate has found his mark. Onto Nemesis, Spiraling Despair as well. He stood there, he's taken it. Spiraling Despair gets a good trade, but Velia, once again, flash for flash. The Chocolate with Lethal Tempo gets the Soldier in the meantime, and the Stand United is coming down. Velia pays respect, while bot lane, there's a trade there again. The blood is starting to roll and fall down the sewers as White Knight is now mid.
Wukong's ganking bot side as well. Thager was looking, but doesn't find anything until Reckless, who has his W. Now the question is, what can Baus get on response to that Shen? But what happened here?
This is what I said. Bot got a trade kill.
Yeah, so take a look at this. The 4th shot into the barrier gets eaten, and Crownie must die here. So he does pick up a kill onto Legolas to start with, and then Crownie does not give over the kill or the assist to
Whiting.
Very nice play from Crownie to deny the goal.
Big brain.
But it does accelerate the mandate, which could be an argument is not so hot for the side of Lost Returners.
Or what would you prefer, Mandate or Trinity Force?
Well, I mean, you'd always prefer the Trinity Force on the Wukong, right? But
yeah.
Just the bright side.
Legolas, really good Relentless Pursuit just in time as well. Gets out of range of Crowning.
I feel like right here, Crowny and Reckless have been playing that 2v2 fantastically well. Every single time Legolas dashes into our trade, you see Reckless throwing his W in, they get the heal through, and with the help of the Guardian as well, I feel like the sustain is great.
Yep.
And Jin is a kind of champion that's kind of like Misfortune. He's a stat checker. He has deep AD levels, AD damage deep into his early levels, so he can actually out-trade towards things like the Lucian Nami.
I think the big thing is like also his CC and the gang setup is really, really good. And they're playing towards that down in bot side really well. Just to highlight top lane, the big dynamic with Shen is that when he has no ulti, you can do whatever you like. You want to push him in, you can freeze, you can do absolutely anything like this. What I really like about what White Knight
like a Barbie girl.
Yeah. What I really liked about what White Knight did was...
That reference to
it
Aragon was just like...
completely went over my head, by the way. I just said, yeah,
Have you not seen the movie?
No, I haven't.
Good movie,
No,
actually.
it's kind of...
Is it good?
We can play.
Oh, yeah.
Change her outfits.
I don't know. I'm sorry that I laughed at you, maybe. I always like the movie. I like
It also went over your
really
head.
good in that movie.
But, where was I going with this?
I'm really sorry,
Yeah,
man. That on me.
On
I'm
me.
sorry.
In
On
time.
You
me.
can brush my hair.
Oh, I remember. I was
There
talking
we go.
about...
Yeah.
That was the reference. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wasn't going to sing the rest of the song because I realized it probably didn't.
The channel, it has a quite a long cooldown.
Yeah,
I
Shen.
can't remember if it's 160 or 180 second cooldown. It's really long, so
Bloody
right now is the window to go.
Wait, Nemesis again. Bot, though. His jungler's
Not
here this time. Thaker's here to cover. Nemesis is going to get whacked around for a little bit longer. With the Spiraling Spear hit onto a clone, he has no chance. Bit of damage on the way out to check the lad, and that's 1-2 now in the pocket for the mid laner.
Big for Barca. That's exactly what we're looking forward. Hold up.
As we're doing a 2v2 with the quickness
Oh,
out,
the bubble.
tidal wave as well. Cranny's going to barrier first, but Legolas running out of mana. Deadly Forest as Cranny now opens up with the curtain call. He will not find them all because Thager is walking into range. All Cranny can do is delay the inevitable. Thager's going to get over the wall. He wants to dash and take the kill and at least set it up for Legolas with the relentless pursuit. No, doesn't find his way forward. It's a bonk on the making. And Thager's just going to auto him instead.
A gang bot works now, and in mid lane you also have to play with the shuffle onto the immobile control mage. A classic win con for the Azir. It's just winning plays across the map for Barca right now, with not much else to show for Los Ratones.
I feel like that was a little bit also disrespectful from Los Ratones. You knew that the Wukong was around the both side of the map because you were taking the Void Grubs on the top side with Velia and Baus, and then you had already seen the Wukong commit over in the mid lane, and he dips into Fog of War, and then Reckless and Crowny walk a little bit too far into this Tribush as well. You see how the trades with the Lucian and the Jhin are going because you have chosen to go for the Electrocute. You want to take small trades. You burst and then you back out. But because of how slippery both the Fleet Footwork Jhin is and the Rakan, they can elongate all those trades, which turns into a winning lane for the Jhin Rakan.
As you said, Barca are getting winning plays. Chakalad now in a really good position with a gold lead above Nemesis, but on this is here as well. A real cornerstone of this comp. Does feel like Barca have a lot more to work with already in this early game. Yep. Now Thager's going deep. He's getting a bit of vision control because Dragon is spawning in 150, but LR are just making sure they don't lose out to River too much.
You can see Baus pushing in the Shen, so the Shen ult away is going to be very punishing. He's going to miss a lot of waves for that. My biggest concern is the dive for Barca is so good onto the flashless carries. Granted, Crowny did just get flashed now, but the Hui might have an issue versus this dive.
Yeah, and as you said, that the Azir flash just came out from Chekolad as well, so the playmaking ability for the side of Barca is kind of big. They also bleeded into the jungle to get some deeper vision behind enemy lines for the next dragon that's going to be spawning in about 120. And so far, so good. The Shen is going to take his first reset as well. We're going to have first items slowly but surely being completed all across the board.
Yeah, Nash's Tooth already as well. Triforce, mid-jungle, very, very strong for Barca. This is such a huge spike for Azir. He's going to pump out so much DPS in this upcoming fight. And if I'm Los Ratones here, I'm looking to cross map as much as I can. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're looking topside potentially for these respawn camps, but the ward is up on the topside camps, so they're going to be spotted out. Now the question is, will Barca contest? Volibear does have push. Shen has a choice now. Does he drop the wave up topside and move to skirmish?
Well, let's see. Stun up, severing Bolt. Thager in so much trouble. But the Gromp helps him out and he gets a level. Also gets out with his clone. Baus now in the way too, and Thager just paying attention because he wants his wolves back. He wants his camps, and a cheeky smite still who would be great, but Thager doesn't have it. Veli's going to use it first, take it away, and Baus knows. He has full pro up here.
I feel like that's some fantastic pressure right here because they can burn the Shen ult with things like this. So you enter the jungle, you kind of threaten the Wukong, you could get the Shen ult off of him. You threaten a bot lane dive, you could get the Shen ult out of it. I really like the pressure that Elara put it on because no Shen ult means that White Knight's going to have to sacrifice a lot of waves top if he wants to join the fight to come.
He's already down to 2 plates on top side. Nice sidestep, by the way, by Legolas there on that dive. Really good sidestep onto the W. And
Bowser's an enemy base.
Yeah, he is. He's really making it hard right now. If Shen does ult away, he's going to lose his tower.
Oh, hey, okay.
There goes Reckless.
Bye, Reckless.
Okay.
Vega just took a freebie, and now Crownie is isolated. TP needs to cover him. Tidal Wave out first, though, as Legolas, the one tanking up. Now, Crownie has flashed and parried and gotten away, but he's got a curtain call that he's going to open up, and with Bouse in the way with a Sky Splitter, Whiting's in a lot of trouble. Bullet number 4 will fly and hit Vega as the Cyclone disengaged, but Bouse has gone a bit deep. He ulted in and regrets it immediately. Teleport also going to be burned. Barça have more members on the way, and Velia cannot save that play.
Bouse uses the tempo he gets from proxying to TP bot and try to make a play, but the Channel is there once he fully commits, and it's the numbers advantage. It's a 5v3.
Oof. Boy, Shadow Dash was close to connecting for LR. Thinking about how to approach this dragon. They don't want to give away number 2, but the pinch is good. Checkler is better. Reckless gets out, disengaged on the left while Velia isolated on the right. Spiraling Spare into Thager, and they're all so low, but a flash Shadow Dash brings the fight back into Barca's favor. Nemesis might be out for now, but Velia just got a reset. An Acro present, another ulti. Checkerlad up next, severing bolt. How in God's name was that so close? Barca getting away with their lives, but only 2 of them as Reckless and Nemesis are taking the last bit. Severing bolt again, a flower in the way to mark the death. We look at Crownie because Reckless is being an 80 carry again.
Velia comes in saving the play with the resets on the back end of that team fight. It looked so bad because Checkerlad's shuffle right there pushed Crownie into the enemy team. They had no carry, but it's all on Velia there to save it. Watch this shuffle. It looks diabolical.
But also for the side of Barca, they overcommit to the play. Fantastic. They get Crownie right here. That is great. But then there's an overcommitment from White Knight with a flash taunt onto Hui. Nemesis is going to flash the wall. And look at Legolas. He overcommits to the play, gets caught by Reckless, and then he leaves the bot side of Barca exposed to Velia getting resets.
Yeah, I think Whiten as well stepped a little bit too close to the bush. He could have hugged wall on the left towards the side of the Dragon Pit, but gets too close to the wall. The invis and Velia coming out of the bush catches him off guard.
Bouse just died, I think, on live. Which is not shocking, knowing who he is, but
no.
honestly.
You're right, he did.
That's
okay. Bouse is dead.
50 seconds till Herald as well, and Shen's going to be able to queue the tower.
But he does have Moby Boots in 2 more stacks, so he will at least be there. LR getting vision control, that's going to help out as well. Thager, I'm going to face check, but it's onto the 80 carry instead. They found themselves Legolas. He walked in because he was confident his jungler was by his side, but Thager takes the 4th shot. There's a little bit more in LR that they're looking for. Velia, he's got a stolen soul. He's looking for yet another. It's reset after reset. It's Velia's time again. And this jungler, this LR pickup is continuing to prove his worth.
And Barca, just like last game, they underestimate the power of the banana bush.
He walked in, he now has to ulti. Reckless is there for the engage. They wanted to walk towards Nemesis, and while he might get out, can you say the same about Whiten? Under turret, as LR, no, it's a breeze from dying. It's another easy kill. LR are putting Spain to shame.
Nah, Barca in game number 2 as well. Again, overcommitting to plays. Legolas has no business face checking that bush. I know you know that your jungler is around, but you have absolutely no vision. And of course, with Herald coming up, of course they are going to be around the neutral objective to set up for themselves. Velia is an absolute monster this series, and in this particular game, 6-1-4. Having the Kraken Slayer, a lot more consistent damage and heavy hitting coming through from the Viego.
Velia Viego is such a classic. Look at this bush control. So important for LR to play around, to find that snap engage, base checking into it, finding the reset, and then chaining that towards topside as Crownie CCs them to set it up. Whiten's, I believe, is going to fall. Thager's going to fall. Everyone gets chased down here. And it's just more and more resets.
And I feel like you saw Thager in the beginning. He was sort of...
Oh no.
Oh,
it's happening
Thager's dead again.
Now, what were you going to say about Thager?
In that replay, he was actually respecting the fact that they had no vision in that banana bush, but like Legolas just sprinted at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a disaster. They were winning so hard at the start of the game.
Disaster how?
Like, it felt like the Shen was just going to win them the game off of the bot side play, but off of one bad team fight now.
But isn't that the same as last game? The lanes were, you know, like Legolas found a lot in the lane. And yes, it was less so as Bouse is just going to walk away from Checkerlad at lethal tempo. But White Knight last game, they got a couple of kills on Bouse. Like, they were in a decent state, Barca. And then it was a couple of mistakes through these lanes, either around neutrals or these big fights, that just set the game into a downward spiral. And yes, you know, like Barca are making mistakes, but LR are just so good individually at pulling them out. This skill cap, this skill ceiling, so hard to be reached. When not only you look at the names, but you look at how well they're playing consistently. in these high-pressure moments.
Yeah, and now looking forward, I think in the mid-game, they've got to really play towards Nemesis here on the side lane, where they have him on an immobile control mage, making sure he can actually push up and farm. That's going to be really, really important. Whilst they leave Baus on his island, I do wonder how an AP Volibear matches into the Azir. That is a question I have, because I don't think it's going to be good.
The one thing that I do like, though, that Barça have going on for themselves, rapid fire cannon completed for Legolas right here. This is the ruler way. You pretty much put a electrocute Lucian over in the mid lane. Whoever steps up with the buffs from Nami, the electrocute buff as well, you cannot chunk people down to half HP. Let's see if Legolas is actually going to use that to their advantage, because they're definitely going to need it if they want to go and contest for the next dragon in 30 seconds.
With that dragon as well, we make number 3 where Barça were able to get the last one, but it cost them so dearly. Came so close, walking out of line.
Brownies.
Which makes sense. Culling's going to come out, though, and that respect going to be half and divided. A lot of damage that comes out, and as you said, Troubled Dragons in 15. Bellier hovering over by the wing. He's strong enough maybe to do it himself, but Crowning will just have to be an ult bot here as teleport for the defensive play. Baus has joined. Stun up, Deadly Flourish. It's onto a clone.
Got to make sure to play around this Shen ulti. The Shen ulti is really, really crucial. If they try to play for a reset and Shen ult comes down to deny it, that could be problematic. Herald plays down to provide a distraction to move into the dragon.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for Barça to find their way in right here, since they have absolutely no way of face picking.
It's going to be gone because Bellier's just soloing it. So Herald's going to get a charge. Turret almost gone. Bellier does a lot of damage with Kraken Titanic.
He can't walk in.
And he could have done it by himself. Crownie's going to make it a little bit quicker. There goes the dragon. There's the extra stats. Barça are looking for offshoots of the fight, but there are none.
Back in my day, that was a Master Yi. Now it's called a Viego.
Very true. Oh, Root. Oh, and engaged, spiraling despair. And I think Legolas is going to regret stepping up to the wave. Crownie on the mark today. As the last shot doesn't need to connect, it zones him off. Here's Velya once again in between it all. And yes, Baus is going to die. Teleport to cover from Nemesis, but mid in a turret is now under fire.
They could dive him too. They have Wukong ult.
They do. Nemesis, will he regret it is the question. Cyclone flash away, but Nemesis has one of his own. Stand United under turret, but is there enough damage to fear? Comes in White Knight. He's going to be a trait. It's a big shutdown as Stega gets out, but mid in a turret goes down in the process.
Right at the end of that play, I don't think Shen, White Knight here, had the Titanic Hydra active. It was on cooldown still, so the burst wasn't there to finish off Wei, which provides Nemesis that trade back kill. Super nice clean play from Nemesis, although very scary on that dive.
And a Chocolat then tempo roam towards the top side of the map, taking that tower down. Get as much funnel, as much gold as you can onto this Azir, onto the carries. Because so far, I feel like it is on the top side of the map to try and bait that game out. That's a 4,000 gold lead for Elar right here. And they're trying slowly but surely to claw this back up. Now, the whole Lucian mid lane that we're talking about, it's very difficult to do without a tower behind you, because you E forward, suddenly you've got a Viego or a Rakan, a Volibear jumping at you. So the vision to do that is going to have to be impeccable from Barça.
I completely agree. Also, I think the way that Lost Returners are playing around the mid-wave in terms of their range, Jin Hui range is just insane. It's so much range and so much pick with the Jin snares and the ultis as well, that it's super hard for either Chocolat or Legolas to walk up to this wave. You want the Lucian to be able to dash in, like Trouble's saying, but you just can't because you're punished instantly from the range.
As we talked about in draft as well, I mean, we're really big on the Shen, but now the fact that hasn't pulled off, now the fact that White Knight hasn't been able to facilitate this ulti is going to pause my point. Yeah, Velya looking. Vega at least here. The cover with White in. Baus is on the way down, by the way, and he sprints down.
I know that I don't have a Teleshare in my hands, but if you look at the line of vision that LR have, hugging the curves right behind that Dragon Pit, it's fantastic to have vision everywhere where Barça can come from.
Scared every time Legolas steps up. He's been caught out a couple of times so far. Again, you talked about the range. It's so easy to pull it off. Thega now caught himself, and he's trying to edge into this bushes. Baus has joined in as well. 5 versus 4 for now. A potential engage. Chocolat finds one on Nemesis with Acro Prison. It's a good engage. It's a successful one. The Stand United brings down the Shen, and now the White Knight's here. Numbers advantage for the Arakan to start.
They could play this potentially with the resets from Velya, but Velya's getting chunked on the entrance. Look at Reckless on the flank. Potentially.
Arakan will slow them down. Arakan will do damage. Crownie is trying to buy his time. Meanwhile, for Barça, the way back into the game is here. Reckless engage. Doesn't connect, but he finds a quickness and a charm eventually. The curtain call doing it in the back line as well as Baus jumps in against 4 people. Ultis eventually takes the chomp and heals out. Gets a stun down, but Barça have done enough, it seems. With the Cyclone re-engaged, Crownie shuts me up and takes the rest of the meat. Finally, they all fall, and Lost Returners are looking as strong as they did last time with 4 for Crownie.
Crownie with his best champion of 2025 4 versus 5, guess what? 4 is his favorite number.
They managed to find the play. I don't know how Baus lived for that long on the volley bear at the back end there, but they managed to pull off the 4 versus 5 with the resets from Velia as well. I was really worried about the fact that they had numbers disadvantage. I was really worried about Baus diving in the backline, but take a look at this. Nemesis dies on the start of it.
Yeah, that was a fantastic pick right here. I don't think the Shen ult was needed, but they were worried about LR re-engaging, right? I think where the mistake happens right here is that when Reckless whiffs the engage, White Knight focuses on keeping Velia out. What should have happened here is that the taunt from the Shen should have been committed on the volley bear, because once the volley bear gets all of this AoE damage onto the backline, he chunks everyone down so hard.
Plus 513. That healing was mental at the end of it.
I
I don't know how he lived at the end.
He should have broken
He was
that
1
champion.
versus 4, and or 1 versus 3.
Because he got first W, frenzied maul, and the second one, like...
Crazy stuff.
It's so silly.
broken on low health, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, that extra time, that kill trade, and...
Get Spirit Visits as well.
Yeah, I mean, that adds up. And for LR, this skill diff is coming in again. I remember when we were here last time around in winter, talking about Izzy Japonkor versus LR, we were talking about the same thing. They step up when it matters, and it's such an overused phrase, but it's happening again. Now Nemesis wants to curse it for a little bit. Thager's going to find him. Cyclone's good. Spiraling Despair in the interim, but it means nothing. That's a big pick, and Barca need big picks in this game to stay in this series, to stay where they are. But with the curtain call opening up again, every time I say something good, there's a response. Whiting was not covered. He's one shot, and Baus is running. He's coming from behind. Look at where Baus is. Look at where Baus is. They've got a ping on him.
They have Shen ult, though. They have Shen ult, and Shen has push. He could look for an ulti onto the pick that Lost Ratones make.
Flourish. They're still looking for the fight. I'm worried. Again, for Barca, how much can they find? They want the mid turret. They want the play. All it takes is another pick, and then finally they can stem the bleeding. They can look for the dragon. They're heading exactly towards that now for Barca.
Nice poke.
The long train running down this river. Whiting is healing up slowly.
Jin is isolated towards the top side of the map. Can Barca find him out, isolate him, and take him? They're looking as they're bouncing back and forth. They see that Jin is in the mid lane tower.
Lost Ratones, they just lost top lane tower. Shen can look for an engage now. Lost Ratones aren't on a timer anymore because there's no tier 3 tower threat, and Barca are the ones that have to back up.
Auto attack, and Crown caught out, stand united, and Crowny's going to drop at the start. Whiting isolated by Baus, but it's a messy fight. Thager as well, spiraling despair, but Velvia is getting resets again. Chocolate, he's isolated because everyone else is dead, and it's only White Knight left standing. Every time we get this fight, LR are getting resets to their jungle superstar.
And they play the 4 versus 5 for long enough so that Nemesis can come in and help in the team fight afterwards. Baus finds the backline dive, but I think on the other end, Jin got engaged on.
And what were we talking about early? Why does LR come back? Why are they the favorites? Because they're a multi-man threat. They literally killed Jin. At the beginning, we said Crowny was isolated. He oversteps, gets shuffled back into the bubble. Reckless gets chunked, but Baus chases out Whiting. Velia gets a very easy reset onto the Wukong. Then Legolas gets chased away by a bear. And while they were focusing, the guy who got a quadra kill, 3 more just sprung up to carry.
I think something we have to mention is that White Knight on this Shen keeps picking up all the shutdowns. There was a shutdown on top side up on that dive, getting 900 gold here.
Yeah.
391 damage.
He got 800 gold in this team fight, and look at the numbers he's pumping out. Just like 390. It's just not ideal to get all the kills and shutdowns on Shen.
It is important to mention the shutdowns and the gold that Barca are trying to ring back into this game, but you're right, not on the most crucial members, and these fights are still looking one-sided once Velia gets his first kill, once there is a first kill to enhance his soul. 5k is the lead. Dragon was taken. Baron is now up. And it does feel like Barca are way too far back in the map right now to contest this. However, Baron hasn't really started off, and it's not the quickest Baron when you look at it.
Yeah, Barca, they've got the onus is on them to make a play right now. They're getting pushed in down in bot side.
Viego items?
I mean, yeah, that is true. But
sorry, Ergon.
I guess without a full-blown 80 carry for DPS, as LR haven't started regardless. I'll be curious about when it does.
Yeah. As the thing is, though, LR have a ton of wave clear. And Volibear's just pushing in bot over and over and over again. True. And they're bleeding waves, Barca are. Barca are bleeding waves down in bot side, losing gold. They're trying to find an engage, and they're going to need to soon. Shen has to hold this wave and hold the tower.
I feel like what Barca are really stalling for is...
Oh, Spiraling Spare on a clone.
That's the clone,
nice
okay.
catch.
So what they're really trying to do here is get third item on the Azir. I feel like a third item onto the Wukong. Once they do that, I feel they're going to be more on quote-unquote even ground. And I feel like Azir is super, super close on completing the third item, which is most likely going to be a Void Star from his side. They need to slow down, but the most important part is that They've been put into the same position.
It's a pick.
Look at the range.
It's the range, but Culling is going to force him away. But meanwhile,
Reckless.
while Legolas wanted to save his support, he might be sacrificing his own life. Severing Bolt again. The last shot almost. White in Legolas, both
Velia?
together, the duo running away. Velia needs a simple reset, a simple kill. Reckless gets vision and White in. He's kaput. He's down, stuck mid-air, but he's got a reset, and that's all that matters. LR running it through mid in their game 2 in their hands. They hold victory at a whim.
W into R, finds the kill from Velia on the flank, and now they can potentially look towards this Nash. Going to start up as the Azir turn into the Viego and DPS it down. In the meantime, Baus is proxying between tier 3 and tier 4 tower. Sorry, tier 2 and tier 3 tower. And
Spare on a clone.
What a nice play.
Baron for LR. Soul point for LR. Everything so far LR's way. Barça seem to be recovering. Suddenly more carries spring up from the side of LR to shut them down. Thager thought it was his jungle. Big mistake.
Yeah, this is going to be staying
Oh, they have
at
to
the very
burn
least.
Channel as well.
Yeah.
At this point in the game, I mean...
There goes the dive win con.
Yeah.
Right, with the Shen ulti and the Wukong engage. But at this point, are you really playing for that? I feel like you just have to turtle, try to wave clear and stall for item spikes. Void Staff, Death Cap on the Azir.
Dive time. Reckless ulti.
Feels like every time Legolas dashes forward, they're punishing with the range. We saw that in mid lane as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how this Azir gets Death Cap as well as a Void Staff. I mean, he's struggling to get that Void Staff right now.
He is tricky. He is
but to
bargaining
get to the
right now.
Death Cap, which is so expensive, you'd have to get a bunch of shutdowns. And Velia has been kind of immortal so far this entire series. He's been a big carry for his team. Immortal. He's got 3 items going for the GA as well, onto the Viego as a 4th item. I feel like the biggest problem out here for Barça is that they are playing as 4, waiting for that channel to come through. But when you're face checking as 4, you're running into the threat of running into 5 people from the side of LR, and them grunting, getting some vision into their own territory, their own jungle, has been so difficult the entire game.
You know, in hindsight, they can't really stall for their items either, can they? 1 minute till Soul, Mounted Soul again for LR. On this front line, and Thager's trying to take vision, trying to take control of bot side.
Oh, God, it's happening again, though.
There it
This
goes.
time, Nemesis won't hit a clone. He'll hit the real deal. White Knight forces a flash away, and Velia just thinks about how he can get back in. The Heartbreaker and Crowny hitting his shots. It's a done deal. We came in today thinking about how Barca whittled away KC Blue, but LR on the other side of the bracket must have been a different matter, because this isn't close. This isn't even League of Legends anymore. This is a funeral, and there's only one team attending.
Big laughs on the faces of LR as well, as they know this was an easy game to begin with.
Yeah, they don't even need the soul. They just turn the fight on the face check.
Classic.
As Barca tried to get in there, but what a stomp. What an absolute roll.
A stomp in this game, a stomp in game 1, match point, and LR on the brink of repeating yet another grand finals, and really starting that conversation that we've been talking about today for the golden road, for the golden path that lies ahead of them. What more do you say than there were a couple of good fights? There were actually more openings for Barca